All right, I am recording now. Okay, so let's see, view. Here we go. Go down to here. All right, I'm recording now. We are on. I'm going to go home on our textbook. I'm sorry, on our Canvas website, and I'm going to do student view because. All right, so we have a question about the quiz. Is there anything else we absolutely need to know for the Chapter 1 quiz other than fully understanding the financial statements? I would go to look at the questions in the back of the chapter, and I'll go to them in just a second, because there's a lot of little theory questions on the quiz, okay? The homework is more statements and things, and the quiz is more theory, all right? Now, when you see the person in the right-hand corner of the screen, can you tell me if that's me? Because I see you guys. What do you guys see on the screen? Anybody?
Everybody.
Okay, but when I'm sharing my screen, can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right. So I've got the student view on here. Of course, this is our class, and some of this we went over last week, but I want to take a quick look at the calendar. Okay. So we are done with the first week. You've done your first chapter homework, and then we have a quiz coming up tomorrow, due tomorrow, and you could have started it already. All right. So let's go into that quiz. I guess I can't do it from here. So we have a quiz there. Friday is the last day to request a remote proctor. If you live more than 100 miles from home and you do not want to come to Bellevue College to take your exam, you need to do that then. And there's a form you need to fill out if you're going to use a remote proctor. Now, of course, this is all assuming that we're back on campus for my exams. I know this is an online class, but we do on-campus exams. So if we're still in lockdown, we will change the way we do exams. Haven't figured that out yet, but my assumption is that the surge will be over by February 2nd, when is our first exam. Okay, that could change. All right, so Chapter 1 homework. Monday's a holiday. I won't be online. I won't have office hours. Chapter 2 homework is due Monday night, and that's more on the classified balance sheet. Okay, I will have a review session on Tuesday. And then next Tuesday for the review session, we will talk about the project and any questions you have on classified balance sheet. And I'll make a video on that. Okay, and then quiz 2, and then we're going to move on to Chapter 3. And then pay attention down here. We have some extra credit coming up on January 25th. Some of you are interested in international careers, and Ambassador Pamela Spratlin will be speaking to the business leadership community on that day. And that's a Zoom session. You can just dial in. Okay. And then we're going to do an activity. We're going to play Monopoly online, and I'll have the quiz. And Monopoly should really wrap up this unit. It'll help you with all the stuff we're learning in Chapter 3. And then we'll do a practice exam, and then our exam will be on that Wednesday. If you have not had a chance to sign up for your, oops, I got to get out of student view. Leave student view. If you haven't had a chance to sign up for your exam times, please do so. And then we'll, because there's 2 spots, we want to do space limited. So go to people, go to that first exam, the second exam, and the third exam. So first exam, you're going to pick your exam time as 1 o'clock or 3:10. Okay. And we've already had some students sign up. So you just take your name and drag it over to your preferred exam time. Okay. All right. Enough of that. Yay, Doris is here. All right. So for quiz Chapter 2, it'll say, you can do this anytime. Before you take the quiz, you need to install Lockdown Browser. So be sure to do that. And there's a couple tutorials in there that you can do as well. So the first quiz, I will give you some grace if you have trouble with Lockdown Browser, but you will need to be able to use it to take the quizzes. And if we have to have it online exams, you'll need it for that. So give yourself some time tomorrow, because you'll be using Lockdown Browser for the first time. I can tell you that it will not let you take the quiz if you have any other device open on Canvas or on the internet. It somehow knows, so it will look on that. So it'll just lock up. So sign off of everything and then go in and take your quiz. There is a calculator built into the quiz. If you want to use your own simple calculator, just hold it up to the camera before you take the quiz. Okay. All right, done with that. And then we're going to go back to this. All right. Quiz questions, homework questions. So I want some feedback. How did you guys feel about the homework? Chapter 1 homework. Okay, horrible, have some questions, straightforward. Give me some feedback, and you can do it in the chat, or you can do it in call out.
I didn't have a particularly good time with it, but it was more or less time management on my part. So it wasn't about the material. It was more or less just yeah. So it was bad time management on my part.
So when you say bad time management, what does that mean, Ryan? You started too late?
Yeah, I started too late. I didn't get through all the material before I had to take the quiz to submit it. But it was, it was
okay. So do the practice homework, and it'll give you can even open it up beforehand, and that'll give you an idea of what the homework's going to look like and how much you need to study. I mean, I give low points for homework. The whole point of homework is just so you know what I want you to pay attention to for the exam. So
yeah, no, I'm definitely going to take that into account for the chapter 2 homework. Definitely.
Okay. What I get a feedback. It was fun. It was straightforward. Oh, I like that response. I enjoyed it. Oh, future accountants in the group. Love it. Let's see. Doing the practice homework was helpful. It was good, pretty clear. Okay, I think my homework is long. I think there were some questions that I want to draw your attention to and just say, hey, how was this for you? So we had.
I have a question.
Hi, Doris. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Professor. Sorry, I came from my appointment.
No problem, not at all.
So when we are doing a homework, is possible save and back another day?
I'm going to give you, I don't think so, but I'm going to give you a list of the homework. This is the homework here that you guys did. Okay. And it's on a Word document, and I can just send this to you afterwards. But you can also go into the practice homework, and it's the same problems with different numbers.
So is this, yeah, I understand that. I did the practice homework first, yes. But I look in that is more time, the next question. So in some points and see, can I save it this one? I come back another day.
Oh, I see what you mean. Can you go back and forward?
Yes.
So for example, if you don't do question 1, can you go on to question 3 and come back to question 1?
No.
Did anybody try that?
I think that it's possible on the online homework. I don't remember exactly, but I may have done that. I know it after you answer a question, you can flip back and forth, and you can like view the automated answer, things like that. I'm not sure after you actually submit an answer or an attempt, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer. Try it with whatever works. Try it with the practice homework, and it should be the same, so that you can go back. Let's go look at something. Let's go look at the homework. Maybe I can look because it should be in the policies. Let's just take a look. Is that what, did I answer your question?
Not yet, because I don't know, in certain points we can, in practice, we come back another day or after 2 hours. So for practice, and for homework, for real homework, I don't know if we can start at the same day, the due day in the morning, because it's time. Each exercise is time. So yesterday I spent like 1 more hour. and I didn't finish the last two exercises, the last three exercises. So
Sure.
I believe that the homework is like 2 hours or so. So instead to do continue, and it's possible do in 2 days or so, if we save it, of course. So
I know for sure that it automatically saves and that you can definitely work on some problems and then leave and come back and do them. Because I did that. I did about half this assignment and then I went and watched a movie or something and then I came back and all of my progress was saved. So
for the real homework, not for the practice.
yes, this was the real homework. And the only thing is at the very end, it says how much time you spent on each problem. So my homework looks kind of weird because it says like 5 minutes question 1, 4 minutes question 2, and then question 3 is like 3 hours. But I don't think that affects our score, how long we took. on it.
No, not at all. Kate,
Okay.
can you tell me this? Did you leave yourself signed into Wiley and then go watch the movie, or did you actually sign out?
I think I was still automatically signed in because I just closed my computer, but my computer was closed. So I wasn't like on the screen.
Okay, so maybe try it. I would try it with the practice homework first, just to make sure it works for you. Because it does make sense to do a little bit and then do some more. So that's a good, I don't see a policy that says you can't do that. I don't set a time limit because it's only 3 points. So I don't really care. I'm just excited as all get out that you guys are doing homework. So it really helps you be successful. So most students do the homework. I shouldn't say that people don't, but I just see it's really important. So I think you're okay on that. So doesn't say. Okay, good question. All right.
I have a quick question about the quiz that's today.
Yes.
I didn't really know where to find the lockdown video, student video, just to understand what the lockdown browser was about.
Sure. So you're in the quiz. Let's see, quiz 1. Let's see if I can do this.
That's for today, right?
Yes. Okay. So Sophia, you're going to click take the quiz. Okay.
Yep.
And right here, it's going to say download lockdown browser.
Oh, I have to click the take the quiz.
I
button.
know,
Okay.
I know. It's so.
It scared me a little bit, but okay, that's what I gotta do. Thanks.
Okay. And so, yeah, I know.
Trust me, the first quiz I do give you
Some grace because lockdown is, if you haven't used
a math class or another.
it's a little stressful. Okay, so the question is, can you give an example of a quiz question? So in your textbook at the back of the chapter, I think I just
My camera. Hang on. All right, in the back of your chapter, there's some questions and there's some vocabulary terms. That's what I would look at. I would not do more problems, number problems. So I would look at starting at the end of chapter. Let's leave student view. Let's go to Wiley course resources. Let's look at the textbook. And let's look at the back of chapter 1. Now, I am a strong believer in a physical book, but it is sure handy to have the online book when I'm talking to you guys. Okay, so business organizations in review and practice. Now, something you need to know at the back of all the way through the book, they have examples and they have solutions to their examples. And those are great. So when after you've read the chapter or looked at the chapter, they're a great source to see how problems are solved. But here at the end, what I really like is they have like components of annual report, using the decision tools with a solution, review and practice, learning objectives, decision tools, and then they have a glossary here. So know the definitions. You've already been using them, but just know them. Great multiple. The quiz is multiple choice, not an essay. So, and it's 10 questions from a big question pool. So those are good. And then they give you the answers so you can practice. And then practice brief exercises. Again, you don't need to spend a lot of time on the numeric ones. but know the theory, and then practice exercises. Okay. And these are really helpful in a big practice problem. Okay. And then these questions as well. And these we don't have answers to these, but you should be able to find them in your book. Okay. All right. Hope that helps. Okay. All right. Let's
Yeah, that was really helpful. Thank you.
You bet. You bet. All right. So on the homework, there is a little bit of that theory as well. And then we start saying, prepare an income statement, prepare a balance sheet, use the basic accounting equation. Let's talk about that for a minute. Can you tell me how to solve brief exercise when you don't know what things are? How would you solve this problem? So how comfortable are you guys with the accounting equation? How comfortable, because you're really going to be working a lot with that.
Isn't the equation A equals L plus E?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I don't want this guy.
Assets, liabilities, and expense.
Let's do this. So let's look at, okay. So in this problem, it's, where did I go? I lost it. Hold on. In this question, go back here. Right here. BE 1-8, the liabilities of Lance Corporation are 90. Stockholders' equity is 230. What are total assets? Are you guys comfortable with that? And then what are total assets? And so on your balance sheet, if you have, I'm going to put this up, see if I can split the screen here. Yeah. Okay. So these start out easy and then they get a little more complicated as we go. So I want to encourage you to set these up on a piece of paper as an equation. Okay. So here we go. So I'm going to take this out, delete, delete, delete. Delete, delete. So let's just do some practice ones. I like to give you a super easy one at the beginning. So we were saying assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity. If liabilities are 90,000, if stockholders' equity is 230,000, what are assets? So 230 plus 90 is whatever it is.
320?
It is, I'm sure it is.
I hope.
Yes, and you're right. Okay, so that's a super easy one for A. The total assets, so let's do a different one. And we've got the total assets of Sally Company are 170 and stockholders' equity is 80. And then what are liabilities? It's going to be the difference there, right? So it's going to be 170 minus 80. It's going to be 90. Okay. All right. So those are nice and easy. Now we're going to get into more complicated ones like BE 1-9. Okay. At the beginning of the year, Morales had total assets of 800,000. Got enough zeros. Total liabilities of 500,000. And what I would ask you guys to do, and they don't give you stockholders' equity, then they give you 3 independent situations that you need to solve for. So step 1 is you have to solve for what the beginning of the year is, okay? What is stockholders' equity at the beginning of the year?
3,000.
300,000.
300,000.
Right. 800, right? Minus 500. So it's pretty straightforward. Now let's take A. If total assets increased 150 during the year and total liabilities decreased 80, what is stockholders' equity at the end of the year? So we're going to say during the year, and when I teach this on campus, oh my goodness, I have these students who can do all of this in their heads. Good for you. I can't. And most of my students can't. So I would encourage you to write it out like that. I'm happy for you if you can do all that in your head, but I have to teach it the long way. So the question is, what is stockholders' equity at the end of the year? So they're asking you for this number right here. Okay, what is it at the end of the year? How are you going to solve this problem? First off, I would say solve for the during of the year. So in these kind of problems, every row has to balance. Assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity. Okay. So right here, what is stockholders' equity? What was the activity of stockholders' equity during the year? If assets increased 80, but liabilities went down, I'm sorry, assets increased 150,000, but liabilities decreased 80,000. What was the change in stockholders' equity? If you know the answer, direct message me in the chat. What's the net change in stockholders' equity? What you guys do here? And if you don't know, put I don't know in the chat. You can direct message me that as well.
230,000.
How did you get it?
So assets is 800 plus 150 is totally 950. So the sum for liability versus stock equity will be 950,000.
So you
So
said,
I have in liability, yeah, okay. So I have in liability 500 minus 8,000 will be 420.
Okay.
So I just only have the difference. So in equity, I have 300 plus 420 is 720.
Good. Or
Different to 950 is 230.
what was the 720?
420
Oh, 420. Yes, yes. Okay.
plus 300 is 720.
Okay, so you did it that way. What about right here? If you did it this way, where you figured out the difference here,
That will be 70,
70?
right? Or run. Oh, no, what do you mean?
I'm just putting down what you wrote. You guys think that's right? You're not the only one who says 70, by the way. Think about it. Okay,
Okay, so if you want to do it another way, let's see.
so we have two other answers here. 70 is not correct. Yes,
Yeah, I entered the change in, right? Yeah,
right.
260.
But everybody, almost half my class always says 70, Erin. So you're among friends. So it looks like it should be 70, but remember this minus has to be made up for to get to the increase of 150. Okay, because the math is plus 150 minus a minus 80 equals 230. Okay, it's the same math that we did up here. We said 800 minus 500 is 300. 150 minus a minus is added to get the 230. Great. Okay. So that's a little more complicated, but that's the accounting equation. So, okay. I don't want to spend most of our time on that, but I just wanted to make sure. And then the rest is.
So what is the answer? 530?
Can you see? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. So what was the question? The question was, what was stockholders' equity at the end of the year? Right? And it's 530. Okay. All right. So looking at your other homework, balance sheet, financial statement components, missing amounts, etc. Balance sheet, net income. Okay. All right. So let's go back. I want to review what we've learned today.
So it's the dollar amount is the
Excuse
same
me?
if you do
Excuse
by
me?
part, if you do by
Can you
during
hear
the
me?
year.
Doris, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I want to go back and I was moving on. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay. So the statements have to, so we've learned about the statements in chapter 1. Okay. So income statement, statement of retained earnings, and the balance sheet. Okay. So we just talked about assets, liabilities, and stockholders' equity, which is only on the balance sheet. The other types of account is revenue and expense. And then the other type of account is dividends, very specific dividends. Okay, so 6 accounts. Okay. All right. So income statement, retained earnings, and balance sheet. I want to go through that in a sec. We've just reviewed assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity. But I mostly like to use what I call the expanded accounting equation. Assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity plus revenue minus expense minus dividends. Just want you to think about that for a minute. We'll be working with that more in chapter 3, but I just want to let you know I use the expanded accounting equation more. Okay. All right. So let's look at these. These are the example statements that they gave us in the book. Sierra Company income statement, Sierra Company retained earnings, and Sierra Company balance sheet. Okay, so everything kind of rolls forward. You have to do the statements in this order. You have to. You cannot get them out of order because you have to have information from the income statement. See if we can maximize that. You have to have information from the income statement in order to create the retained earnings statement. All right, you have to have information from the retained earnings statement to create the balance sheet. So only one account. You're going to get a whole account list. You already did with chapter 1 homework. You get a list of accounts and your job is to say, what type of accounts are they? And I just said there's 6 types of accounts and they don't double up. They're only going to show up on one statement. So if it's a revenue type account, it's going to be on the income statement. It's not going to be on the balance sheet. Expenses are only on income statement. Assets, liabilities, and stockholders' equity accounts. These are titles, categories, but all the individual assets, all the individual liabilities, all the individual stockholders' equity are only going to be on the balance sheet. Okay. So you can see here at this company, it has service revenue. All right. So service revenue, can you give an example of a company that has service revenue that only sells service?
Geek Squad.
Geek Squad, perfect example. Yeah. They don't sell products. Can you give an example of a company that sells products but does not manufacture them? Where do you guys shop?
Walmart.
Walmart, good example. So we would call that, Sophia, we would call that a merchandising company. Okay, there's no financial statements on the quiz. It's more theory in multiple choice, yeah. All right, so service revenue for chapters 1 through 4, we're only doing service revenue companies. When we get to chapter 5 and 6, we're gonna do companies that sell products, but they're only gonna be retail, or sorry, merchandise companies. So you could be a Walmart, which would be a retail company, or you could be a distributor that buys certain types of products and resells them. Okay. In that case, we will not call it service revenue, we'll call it sales revenue. All right, expenses, all of these have the last name expense, so that's a big clue. Okay, and then you say revenue, you put all the expenses here, put the total here, and you have net income. The retained earnings statement is a strange statement. You guys have never probably seen it unless you've worked in accounting. It's the lifetime profit and loss of the company, okay? So retained earnings beginning balance in the book, it said Sierra Company just started October 1st. So they have no profit when they first start. Then they have plus net income and minus dividends equals ending balance retained earnings. Okay. All right. So kind of a funny, so think of the retained earnings statement as a bridge that takes us from the income statement to the balance sheet. Okay. Okay. And then finally, we do the balance sheet. And in chapter 2, you're going to see that the order of the accounts is very important. And the order is the order of liquidity. So liquidity means how close they are to cash. So of course, cash is cash, so it's first. Accounts receivable is the money our customers owe us. Customers typically pay in 30 days, so it's almost cash, or it will be in 30 days. Small amounts of supplies, pens, paper, printer cartridge, all that sort of thing. You don't buy 2 years supplies, you buy like a couple months of supplies. So you're going to use that up, or it's going to turn to cash soon. And then prepaid insurance is another type of asset where you guys do that with your cars, where you have to pay your insurance in advance, but the insurance covers you in the future. And then equipment, and that would be things like computers, automobiles, or even you could also have a category here, buildings or land, okay, or an account, buildings or land, okay. So you can see equipment would have a longer life, all right?
Is there like a reference page to know what is what liquidity? And
It'll be, yes, it'll be in chapter 2. So if you,
oh,
so you'll get more of that in there. So notes payable, accounts payable, unearned revenue, money we owe our employees, interest we owe. And then these two under stockholders equity for all of accounting 201, stockholders equity is only going to be common stock and retained earnings. When we get to accounting 202, we'll have some more types of stock accounts. Okay. So total assets equals total liabilities plus stockholders equity. Now, why did we need to do balance sheet last? Because we have to get that updated retained earnings balance, and that's what goes in the balance sheet, okay? And that's, if you don't have that there, you won't balance, okay? What if you don't know what retained earnings is? Well, you can back into it because you know what total assets are, and you can subtract 9,550 and 10,000 and get to 2,360, but it's better to do it the long way, okay? Although you did have a homework problem where you had to do that, okay? All right. Okay. So I think that was, I just wanted to go over statements, and then did you guys want to go and work some more homework problems? We have about 15 more minutes, so, or anything else. So there was a homework problem, let's see. So here's a good example, okay. Retained earnings January 1st, 2022. Prepare an income statement and retained earnings statement for the year ended December 31st. Okay, so that's your beginning balance in retained earnings. I want to, in the company, Sierra Company that I just showed you, it had a 0 beginning balance because that was its first day of existence. It had not been around. So of course it had no net income, but this company's been around for a while. So they have a beginning balance in retained earnings. Okay. So looking at this information, can you guys tell me what net income is? Okay. Why don't you work on that for like 2 minutes, and then I will show you what I have. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with you. So on a piece of paper, calculate what net income is. I know you did it for your homework, but if you're like me, you probably already forgot your homework. So, okay. And as soon as you know the answer, put it in the chat. What's net income for this company? how you pronounce your name? Is it Cow? Did I say it right?
You may call me Kyle.
Kyle. Okay, I can do that. I'm gonna write that down though, because I'll forget otherwise. Okay, let's see. You guys are all agreeing on this. Now, there's something else you should know for exams. Okay. And that is, it is okay to put, it's okay to put all the statement in one column. Anybody else have a guess? All right. Oh, I left that one out. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put this up. There's an error in it. You guys can tell me what the error is. What's the error here?
You missed out the advertising expenses.
I sure did. Yeah. So we'll add that in. And that's going to be. All right. So this is what I wanted to show you. So this isn't beautifully formatted, but it's okay. So for a test situation, I want to compare these. See how this is indented here? You don't have to do that. In fact, when we use actual financial statements from the SEC website, there's no indentation here. The SEC website, it's all in one column, like I showed you here, okay? It's all in one column, and it would say 2022 at the top to show the year. Okay, and that's fine. When you do a financial statement, company name, name of the statement, and the year, all right? And I'm glad you guys didn't use dividends. We didn't want dividends. It's not part of this. Dividends is only on the statement of retained earnings. Okay. Right.
I have a bit of a question about Excel. Will we learn how to use Excel for accounting purposes, or?
Have you used it at all, Sophia?
Not really.
Well, wait a minute. I heard a maybe in there. So I love Excel.
Mm-hmm.
As students, I would strongly encourage you to learn Excel and get your Excel certification. If you go to Seattle U or UW Bothell, I'm about Seattle, UW Seattle, they make you get your first level Excel certification.
Oh, wow.
And it's the best gift they could give you. So, because it just makes life so much easier. You don't have to learn to be super fancy, but it's, I mean, I've been using Excel for like, I don't know, a long time, and before that other spreadsheets, but it just makes your life easier. How many of you have used Google Sheets? It's very similar to Excel. So Excel's more powerful. If you're using a laptop now and you want to learn Excel, I would ask you to invest in a separate keyboard with a 10 key on it, you know, the number pad. and a mouse because it's too hard to do Excel just on a laptop or any spreadsheet. Okay, let's take a look at Target and Walmart. Here's some companies here that you guys are familiar with. Okay, so here is, let's do the income statement first. Financial position. Okay, so companies often, when you guys would start your projects, the first thing you're going to do is go out and get statements from the actual SEC website, and they're going to look something like this. So the income statement is not always called the income statement. It's sometimes called statement of operations. All right. So here it is, income statement. You know it's an income statement because they start with revenue and they have something called cost of sales because remember, Target sells products. So they're going to have cost of goods sold. And then we have the expenses, and then we have a bunch of subtotals, and then we come down here to net earnings, okay? But you can see the whole year is in a column, and the reason they do that, and by the way, you don't need to know this at this second, but I'm just showing you, the reason they do that is because they want 3 years of data for the income statement. So in 2019, Target sales were 75. How much is this? How much is this number? Anybody?
75 billion.
I think it's billion, right? Because the numbers are in millions. So 75 billion, 78 billion, and 93 billion. Without having a degree in accounting, are the trends favorable or unfavorable? Or neutral? In 2019, their sales were 75 billion. In 2020, their sales were 78 billion, and in 2021, their sales were 93 billion.
It's favorable, right?
Neutral.
Increase.
Favorable, yeah.
Favorable, right?
Yeah.
You would expect net income to follow the same pattern. Base year, a little bit higher, and a big bump. Okay, so here's net income, 2,900,000,000. 3,281,000,000 and 4 billion. So you see a little bit of a similar pattern there. So if your sales go up, I certainly hope your profit goes up. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at Target's balance sheet. Okay, we don't need Jared's name on there. All right, so here's Target's balance sheet. The silly thing about the SEC websites is they only want 2 years in the balance sheet. So for your project, you need to go back and get the 2 previous years as well. So you'll have to go to a previous year's annual report. But I give you directions on that. Okay, so here's cash.
So 4 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here's cash in 2019. Here's cash in 2020. Okay. Here's total assets in 2019. Here's total assets in 2020. Okay. And sometimes they don't have total liabilities added up. So they have current liabilities and total non-current. So in that case, you might have to add them yourself. Total stockholders' equity, also called shareholders' investment, and then total liabilities and stockholders' investment. Okay. Let's look at Walmart. Let's see. So remember the sales for Target real quick. You remember the sales for Target? 75, 78, 93. What do you think Walmart's going to look like? More or less? This is Target.
I say more.
More, probably more.
Okay, how much? Let's make
How
a
much more?
no Googling allowed. So
I'm gonna just guess 30% more.
okay. So we have a guess. So Walmart versus Target. So Target was 75, 78, and 94. I'm just going to round it up. Okay, 30% more. Anybody have another guess?
I think it's like around 200 billion, but I don't know exactly.
Oh, okay. So we've got about 130. That would be Aaron, and Colby, you say 200. Okay, here we go. What's Walmart's balance sheet? And here's Walmart's balance sheet. Oh, I need an income statement. Here we go. This is Walmart.
Less.
Wow.
Oh, no.
What do you think? A little bit bigger than Target?
Yeah, no kidding.
550.
So 510, 519, 555. So they're about 5 to 6 times bigger. And that makes sense. Target hasn't been around as long. Now, I want you to think about one more thing. 510, 519, 555. Which company is growing at a faster rate? And you don't have to do the math right now, but I'm just saying in your head, which company's growing faster? 510, 519, 555 compared to 75, 88, and 90.
Target compared to like the amount of money they're earning for individually, like in total, I think Target's earning more. Like their increase.
Their growth rate. Let's call it what it is. It's a growth rate. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right. So let's just for fun. Okay, we go Target. Because this is where you're headed with all of this, guys. You're looking at trends and you're saying, 21, 20, 19, and you're saying 75, 78, 94. And then we're saying Walmart. Okay. So these are the years. Okay. So let's just see, how would you get the growth rate? Some of you may know this, some of you may not, and it's okay if you don't. So if we said 75 is 100%. Okay. So 75 represents 100%. What is 78? It's going to be more than 100%. Okay. So it's a growth of 104%. And then I'm going to compare 94 to, let's see, I'm going to compare 94 to 75 as well. Okay, so how much did it grow? Here. So it grew 25% compared to 2 years ago. Let's do the same for Target or Walmart. Okay, that's what Sophia's talking about. Oops, stop that. So which company's doing, Walmart is definitely bigger, but which company is better, has faster growth?
Target, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all relative. Of course, if you've got the power of Walmart, you're going to be really, really, you got a lot of choices when you have all that cash, right?
What are all the, oh, this is just a general question, but for Walmart, since it's such a big corporation, where does all that like extra money go? Does everything get used or?
Well, let's take a quick look. We said, so that's a really good question. So let's just look at this year. Net sales 555. Net income 13,000. So they clearly used it up in their business, but most of it goes into their products, which means they buy from China or wherever they buy from, India, wherever, and they resell it. And we know Walmart is cheap, right? We can, the attraction of Walmart is people can buy things at an affordable price. So they don't have a huge profit here. And then the rest of it goes into salaries and rent, or if they own the buildings, property tax. And then it goes the big expenditures. Yeah, these are the big expenditures right here. Okay. This is a subtotal. They made 20,000 before tax and they paid taxes. So yeah. Now compare that to Target. And I think Target's prices, are higher than Walmart. That would be my guess.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and you can see their cost of sales as a percent of sales is lower. So they're marking them up a little more. So they have a little more wiggle room. All right. Okay, I wanted to take you over there briefly, just so you could see it, to see where we're headed and to see kind of why we're doing all this accounting stuff. It's really the goal of the class is to help you look at the big picture and then also to be able to do some basic accounting transactions. And we'll get pretty technical, but things that any manager, any employee who's trying to understand the business should know. So that's my goal for you. Okay. All right. So let me know how this worked for you. If you like this sort of combination of questions and kind of review, or if you want just to be office hours with question and answers, let me know that too. So, all right. All right. So I will see you guys. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to stop recording. So